Jesus, there's so many fucking main quests. Damn. I did so many main quests and yeah. I realized how many main scenarios there were. Man, I told my aunt, I was like, because she's right now in Florida, on a cruise with her in-laws, and I basically told her, I know you're on vacation, Nana, but I'm like, hey, I was like, all this shit's happening. I was like, I'm sure, because it was more or less like, I told my mom, I was talking to my mom about it. She's like, albeit true that it may be an exaggerated fib from a 10-year-old, it's still, worth looking into. And I'm like, fair. So then she's like, my mom was like, why are we doing all this complaining instead of doing shit? And I'm like, fair enough. Because like my mom was like, Aunt Nikki needs to be the one that does shit because and my nana's too old and she doesn't have the facilities to take care of a child, especially one of Brooklyn's age. Um, so that's where my mom was like, she's like, Aunt Nikki needs to call the cops and do something. And I'm like, okay. So I texted that whole thing to her. I was like, I know you're on vacation, but I was like, the situation with Brooke seems to be getting out of hand I was like, because I just heard that like Brooklyn got home and instantly already started getting bitched at by Shelby. And I was like, and apparently there's a camera in her bedroom where she changes, and that's like, alarming. Yeah. Um, Shelby doesn't fucking do anything about it. Because Shelby is the whole, it's for your protection. Well, why the fuck is there a camera in the bedroom? Yeah. It's fucking weird. And then it's just like, what the fuck? Um, and he's just an ass, and it's just like, what the hell? Because, like, the guy's an ass, don't get me wrong, but it's like, it was still just like, there's not enough, a lot of the time there was like, there's just not enough basis to where it's like, you can't really do anything because it's just enough to where you can't do anything about it. That was the sickening part. Because it's like Brooklyn saying how there's roaches and there's shit and it's dirty and they smell and it's like okay, and it's like sure, but again it's like how much of that is exaggeration. So it's like, and it's like we know that the guy's an asshole, but then it's like he plays the nice card ever so slightly once in a while. I know. Braden. Well, I gathered that, and it's not like we're yeah, and that's where I mean, oh no, I gather it, I gather it. It's more or less it's just like Shelby is literally the type of person to go off her rocker and do fucking something stupid. And it's like, we don't want my Nana to be the devil because she's already pissed off at Aunt Nikki, which is her mom. Okay, fine, whatever. Like, it's got to the point where Bree has set aside her fucking indifference with her mom and said, honestly, Brooke would be far better off with her mother than Shelby. Like, it takes a lot to get Brie off her fucking stupid ass high horse. But it's just like it's that mentality, and it's just like holy shit. And that's where I even said, huh? That's what I'm saying. Like we all would, and that's what Brie was saying. She's like she would take her in if she could, but it's like she can't. Like hell, I'm pretty sure my parents would too, but they're in fucking Virginia, and it's like the only person who is a viable option to do this is Aunt Nikki and her husband. But it's like, and then it's just like, but Aunt Nikki is still like she couldn't. It's a weird complex, like but that's where I'm like, I was like, I would call the cops, but I don't know the address nor the station to call. So it's like I'm kind of in this weird what the fuck. So hell yeah. But eh. Mhm. because, and honestly, it's more or less like if the, honestly, just calling the cops will probably, maybe, I don't know, this is the small ounce of hope that I have of Shelby actually changing as a person. Hopefully, calling the cops will make her realize, holy shit, I'm being a shitty fucking mom. Maybe, maybe not, but then she'll probably take it out on Brooke, but that's where it's like, cops need to be called and my aunt needs to be there, like, waiting for that shit to happen. So. Or it needs to be basically my aunt needs to get a hold of her because she's having her this weekend. She gets Brooke this weekend. It's basically she's going to take Brooke in for the weekend and then call the cops on Shelby and then basically have them basically go through their whole entire house and fucking check the living conditions because, like, holy fuck.
This one.
Yeah. Bro, I'm having so much fun with Garuda, fucking Titan, and Phoenix, dude. I fucking love Titan, just the fucking punching the shit out of a guy.
Let's cool things down a bit.
Alright.
Let's hope it's enough to keep the boss.
Can't wait to see. So how far do I need to get into the campaign to get unlock the
There
DLCs?
he is, the man who saved my business. I was
Bruh.
hoping we'd be seeing you again. The baths grow more bearable by the moment.
I'm glad to hear it.
Now,
Not what I expected.
you tell a fine that's not to say I don't believe you, though. Creatures made of flame, eh? But I burdened you with my worries enough already. Right.
Yeah, no, it didn't. The shit with Brooke didn't get to me until it was like the fact that Bree came back to me crying. So I'm like, damn, that's sad. So, but cause like, well, it's not that. And that's why Bree. Well, it's also the same fact that Shelby literally told Brooke, if something ever happens, you need to tell me, and Brooke is literally telling her, and Shelby's not fucking listening. Yeah. And that's honestly why Bree's getting upset because. She already was. That's the sad part too. And Shelby was just like, and then like that's where it's like, fucking Shelby's over here like, he's not that bad. You need to take a chill pill. And it's like, Shelby, get the fuck out of your love mentality. He is literally hurting your daughter. Like, I don't even know what, like, because she doesn't think that he's abusive because it's not physical. And it's like, Shelby, how dumb do you gotta fucking be? Like, holy fuck. Like legit though, and it's like holy fucking shit. And then it's like, but that's where it's like, that's why Bree's crying because she grew up with that. She knows that. Shelby grew up with it, and Bree knows that too. And that's where Bree's like, how are you gonna sit here and raise your daughter like this, the exact same way you were, and act like it's any better? And it's like, and that's where I was telling Bree this. I was like, your grievances with your mother aside, she owned up to her faults, albeit it's too late. But it's like, she's literally telling Shelby all of what we are witnessing. It's like she's following the same path that Aunt Nikki was. She's literally doing the exact same shit that Aunt Nikki was, if not worse, because at least Aunt Nikki just was attracted to somewhat decent looking guys. They just happened to be physically abusive and would go 6 rounds. That was Aunt Nikki's only fault. This guy is literal pothead, a lazy sack of shit, doesn't do anything, and is only using her for the fucking insurance and to get his dick sucked. That is literally it. It's sad because it's like, and my problem is that it's like, it's also, I now have to step up and be a person that I shouldn't have to be for this kid. Because I'm a cousin. That's what I'm supposed to be. I'm just supposed to be a fun family member. I'm not supposed to be a father figure or a person who's to console her as her therapist. That's not my fucking job. And it's sad because Shelby gave her this notion that people have to tell her that she loves them. Otherwise, in her mind, they don't. Because now Brooklyn thinks that I don't love her because I don't ever say it. And I'm like, I don't say it to anybody. Well, I gathered, but it's like, I play with her. I have fun with her. There's never a moment where I'm like, get the fuck out my face. Like, Jonathan, her uncle, is an absolute dick to her. Like, he cusses her out and says, get away, brat. Like, and I'm like, that's a guy who literally doesn't love anybody. Like, not even himself. And it's like, Shelby has this notion that I don't love anybody. I'm like, that's not even true. I was like, first off, you don't even fucking know me. You barely talk to me because anytime you talk to me, you don't like me when I call you out on your bullshit and cuss you out. So, don't even speak about who I am as a person because you don't like me as who I am as a person. Because I don't cater to your petty bullshit and your reality. That's why Shelby doesn't like me. Hell, she fucking blocked me on Instagram because I unfriended her on Facebook. And she's like, Mitch unfriended me on Facebook. I'm like, because I don't want to deal with the fucking drama. Because I don't want it to where it's like, in 4 months' time, you end up moving out and like, men ain't shit. Like, no, fucking, you made your mistake. We all warned you about it. Fucking tough shit. Move the fuck on. Who cares? Like, I was like, don't sit here and ask for commentary if, like, you're fucking not listening to anything that anybody's ever telling you. And she didn't like that. I was calling her out. Like, she's over here, like, she doesn't like when I correct her. In her mind, she's the smartest person in the room. When she's vastly not. And, that, like, I know I'm not the smartest, but believe me, I'm smarter. But you're smarter than Shelby. Let's just put that. Her own daughter is smarter than her. Let's just put that into perspective. A 10-year-old is smarter than a 30-year-old. That's, yeah. But it's fucking. And that's where it's like, it's getting to a point where even my papa is like, ooh, is that Rathalos? Oh shit. Yo, can that be the Prime variant for fucking Rathalos Prime? Um, yeah. It's just so annoying to see because it's like, as my papa says, it's blind love. Now, he hates the guy. My papa absolutely hates the guy, but he's still trying to, like, he doesn't enable Shelby, but he still is like being the person that it's like, look, even like, even though you're not really making the best life choices, we are still your grandparents at the end of the day. And that's what my nana's trying to get at. My nana's like, she's like, look, oh no, she has been. Like, Shelby has court summons, and my papa's gonna go drive down there and go pick her up and go to the court summons. And my nana's like, if it were up to me, I'd have her ass walk. My nana don't give a fuck. No, because this is my nana's whole mentality. She's like, why the hell would you leave this house when you literally had everything? You had a roof over your head, you had food to eat, you had bath and water. Yeah, that was the problem. And that's where my nana, and Shelby's like, why don't you like him? And my nana's like, because he and his mother don't like me, so why the fuck would I like him? Like, but yeah. And then Britt was talking to me about how her mom is acting like a fucking teenager. So, okay, her sister and her mom got into it over literally the dumbest thing. So her mom was trying to go out and have, like, just go out with a guy. Well, she doesn't have a car and it's still in the shop. And then her sister was like, well, who's this guy? Just, being like just trying to actually be like mindful and like protective of their mother. And then she's like, have we met him? Like, where are you going? Who's this guy? Like, where to are you going? And then basically it was just like the mom was being a petty fucking like, oh my god, you don't let me do anything. And like the sister's like, that's not what we're saying. Like you can go, just where the fuck are you going? Because yesterday it was like she went out with a group of friends, but then her sister was like, don't do that because they're just gonna leave you and you have no way of getting home. Well, lo and behold, she went out with the friends, they get to the bar, and then now she ends up needing a ride home. And that's where it's like no, no, well, not even that. But I think she's past that point. She's had menopause or whatever the fuck. I don't know. I'm assuming she's the same age as my parents, considering that Britt is the same age as me. So, and then she also has two older siblings. So, I was talking about Britt's mom. Yeah, Britt's mom was acting like a fucking teenager. So, yeah. And that's where I was like, dude, I was like, your mom is underdeveloped. Holy shit. I was like, what? I was like, it's sad that your sister is being the mother to your mom when it should be the other way around. But it's just, yeah. No, and I even told, like, and what I was telling my mom. So, because like this is what I all said to my mom. I was like, wow, just wow. I was like, Brooke was gone from Shelby over the weekend to spend time with Aunt Nikki, Nana, and Bree. Well, Nana and Papa drop her off at Shelby's in Brooklyn. Isn't even fully out of the car before Shelby's bitching at her and yelling like, "Holy fuck, Shelby!" I was like, "Drop the trauma dumping for your inexperience as a mother." And then my mom was like, "It's not the inexperience, it's the abuse. Shelby's getting abused by him, and she is taking it out on Brooke." I was like, "And it's sad to see." And then mother's like, "Why is everyone afraid?" Huh? Well, well, that's what I'm saying, but it's more or less just, and that's where my mom was. That's why my mom was like, "Why is everyone afraid to call the cops or Child Protective Services? Ty and Shelby are abusing that girl." I was like, "I have no idea. They're afraid there's no basis." And mother's like, "Brianna's telling me Ty has a camera in Brooklyn's room and he goes through her private things. That's basis enough." I was like, "But how much of it is Brooke? Exaggeration for Brooke? That's the issue." And mother's like, "Does it matter?" I was like, "Fair." And mother said it's getting old, the drama, and no one is willing to do anything because they are afraid of Shelby's reaction. I also said I was like, "Shit, I'm half tempted to." Oh, because that's what she said. Call the cops, and they all checked the living situation. I was like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why Nikki hasn't. And then she said it should be, huh? Yeah. Okay. I'll give it a few days. That way, it's not like it happened today, and then like when Brooklyn gets dropped off, and then Nan and Papa witness the shit, tells everybody, and then it's like, oh wow, happens to be later that. I mean, I know Shelby's not the brightest much, but if that were to happen, and that's where I was venting to Britt about this shit too, and that's where I even told her I was like, if I ever fucking do this to our kids, feel free to put me 6 feet fucking under and make my name forgotten. Like, oh no, that's what I'm saying. I was like, literally leave my ass. I don't care. I was like, if I'm ever doing that, yeah. And that's where I was explaining. I was like, there's a difference between like straight up yelling with malice and yelling in a form of protection. Because it's like you can discipline a child through yelling, but you can't scold a child with yelling because it's like if well, that's what I'm getting. Like it's not it's more or less like if Clara acts out and she doesn't listen, that's when you yell or that's when you start. Like my dad had like a form of it where it's like a hey, don't do that, and then it's like if I keep doing it, it's a louder hey, like fucking like all right, motherfucker, knock the shit off. Like it's a more aggressive manner until you finally fucking listen. With Shelby, it's like Brooklyn gets out of the car and then it's like, what the fuck have you been doing? Like, basically just instantly cussing her out. And it's like, what the fuck? Pretty, well, not like, but it's more or less just like, quit. Cause like, I've even told you that where you'd hear me, like, we'd be in the party and then like Shelby gets home and I'm like, great. And then like, you're instantly like, hearing the yelling from cause my mic picks it up. You're hearing the yelling from the other room. And I'm like, I was like, Shelby's bitching at Brooke for whatever reason. You're like, what is it now? I was like, I don't fucking know. Because she was mouthing off to her to her boyfriend, um, which rightfully so. And Shelby was telling her to stop, and then she's like, "Can you quit being an ass?" And I'm like, "Well, she's got a fucking point, Shelby." I'm like, I like how you're. Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, she's even said. Now, I will say though, differences aside, Shelby and like Shelby does have a tendency to, pawn off on her kid and make her feel like that's what I was saying. I was like, children are impregnable. They do learn from their parents. So it's like, and sadly, Shelby has done so much irreparable damage to Brooke that she's like confused, like genuinely confused. Like she doesn't know like whether to be like Aunt Nikki, like Nana, like me, like Bree. Like she can't decide on being her own person. And that's where it's like, I mean, it took me like it took me a minute. Like I'm still technically like my own person. I do have tendencies to act like both of my parents, but it's not. It's like Brooklyn is literally just essentially Shelby's mime. Like she says what Shelby says, does what Shelby does, and it's like there will be moments where she's here with us that she's literally genuinely just 10-year-old Brooklyn Ray. But then it's like when she gets back with her mom, all of a sudden she's Shelby Ray Jr. And it's like, what the fuck? And it's like, why do you do this, bro? Because she's afraid of what her like. She's afraid of being different because she wants to keep her mom happy, and that's the sad reality. It's like no 10-year-old should have this complex at such a young age. I was like, why? She can't because they have to share everything at that fucking house. Because they're a family. So whatever, like Brooklyn can't even get time alone on her fucking tablet without his fucking son. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, and like, God, heaven forbid she starts her fucking cycle, because that's coming up soon. Like, I know it's weird to talk about, but it's fucking life. It's biology. It happens. Like, it's gonna happen. And what the fuck is Shelby gonna do in that situation? Because his son is just as perverted. Like, you're talking while they were still in early stages of dating, he was like the son was hitting on Shelby, and he was also being really weird with Brooke. So that's where it's like, and the son is 6 or 8 technically. It's 8. He's 8, but it's still weird. It's like he's not just getting that to get it. Like there's something being taught to him for him to act like that because that's fucking abnormal. Like, yeah, you get pervy boys, but when they're in the prepubescent stage, you're like, ooh, pretty girl. They tend to act a little weird, but not that weird. Yeah. But it's just like it's still sad because it's like Brooklyn will be playing with this kid for like an hour and a half, and then it's like she wants to stop because she's bored, so she goes on her tablet. Well, then it's like he starts his one. Like this is where the whole like his mom, Shelby's boyfriend's mom, talking about um Brooklyn being spoiled, and it's like yet she's always the one getting in trouble because Logan, that's his son. Because Brooklyn's getting in trouble because she doesn't want to do something, and Logan whines and cries about it and makes her get in trouble. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Isaac and Claire both do it. Like, if Claire is bored, Isaac will start, messing with her and, like, agging on and whining, and then just, like, well, why won't she play with me? Well, then, yeah. Well, and that's honestly what it is. And that's what it is, because it's like, Brooklyn has been alone, like, she's an only sibling, and it's like, Shelby, or her damn grandmother from her dad. Yeah. Which that's kind of the complex, and it's like Shelby gave Brooklyn this notion that I'm just Brooklyn's big brother, and I'm like, I'm not though. I'm 10 years older than her. I was like, I can't do the fun things that you expect me to do. I mean, uh, well, I mean, I gathered that, but it's like she's your actual like like sibling, and it's like you're talking Brooklyn's 10 years old, and I've only been in her life for the past 2, for the most part, like fully. And that's where it's like, I can't just be a distant cousin to now be a big brother. That's not how that works, Shelby. I was like, maybe, hear me out, if you were not the neglectful mother that you were, your daughter wouldn't be like this. I was like, because what does Shelby do all day? Sits on her phone, talks to whoever, sits on her ass, doesn't do shit, watches TV. What does Brooke do? Watches YouTube, sits on her ass, watches her tablet, doesn't do anything. Like, What did my dad do with me and my brother? I don't know. He took us to the park, took us fucking to the damn lake and fucking fished. I was always the rambunctious one. I ran out. My dad was always like, "You two fuckers, fuck off, go run outside." So me and my brother were dicking. Like, now, I granted, that's also me having a sibling, but it's like we didn't have the PlayStation. Okay. Yeah. Um, but yeah, it was just it's that kind of whole thing, and it was just like, and then it was also how early me and my brother got electronics. We had no sort of electronics. We barely had, like, we had little TV. I mean, we watched Cartoon Network, but that was more or less like, just for when it was like too cold or too fucking hot for either of us. We had movies. We would always watch movies together. Like, he would watch Matrix, I would pick Pirates. Like, we would actually sit and hang out. Hell, we would fucking roughhouse in the damn house. We played with Legos. We played with toys. We went outside. And it's like, we didn't have any sort of technology to, like, play. Like, we had the PS2, but we only had, like, very few games that were, like, double player that actually worked, and like controllers because the damn cartridges and bullshit. God, I fucking hated those things, dude. The corded fucking PS2 controllers, bro, fuck that shit. But like we played video games together, and then like we didn't get the PS3 till I was in kindergarten or close to first grade, and then it's like, but we still always went outside and played. It wasn't until my brother's asthma got bad that we stopped playing outside as much. And then obviously when he turned like 13 is kind of when he was just like, you're boring. And so I was like, well, damn. Um, but it was just that kind of thing where it's like children are not difficult to please. Like, and Shelby being fucking has no concept of doing anything more than a simplistic ass fucking card. Like, she can't even play Phase 10, bro. She refuses to play Phase 10 or refuses to play Uno. I'm like, you refuse to do the literal simplest of shit, and you wonder why your daughter's the way she is. And it's like, what the fuck? Yeah, but yeah. I like how I started a stream. I probably shouldn't have started a stream if I was just going to vent about Shelby. Uh-oh, I'll probably just delete it off YouTube. I haven't done much. I literally just finished off a side quest. I'm not doing main story shit yet. So...